In the glittering heart of Las Vegas, where neon lights danced a nightly ballet and fortunes were won and lost with the flick of a wrist, two figures stood poised on the precipice of a gamble far grander than any blackjack hand. Sarah Jenkins, a mid-40s woman with a neat bun and sensible shoes, her plain and unassuming face belying a mind sharper than any razor, her calm, steady eyes missing nothing, surveyed the opulent expanse of the Bellwether casino. Beside her, a ghost in the crowd, was the unseen architect of their ambition. The Bellwether wasn't just a casino, it was a fortress, a monument to impregnability. Its vault, a steel-reinforced leviathan, was rumored to be impenetrable, its security a labyrinth of motion sensors, pressure plates, and laser grids. But Sarah and her silent partner, known only as the Maestro, had spent 2 years dissecting its every weakness, every human foible, every digital flicker. Every lock has a key, Mark. The Maestro's voice, low and gravelly, with a suspenseful and cinematic tone, would echo in Sarah's mind, a constant refrain over a slow, tension-building cello score. And every system a flaw. Sarah, outwardly an unassuming casino accountant, had spent months cultivating a reputation for meticulousness, for being utterly, wonderfully boring. She logged hours, filed reports, and occasionally, with a shy smile, brought in homemade cookies for her colleagues. No one, not even the most seasoned pit boss, suspected the ice-cold steel beneath the sensible shoes. The plan was a symphony of precision, a ballet of deception. It began subtly, with a series of minor, almost imperceptible glitches in the casino's vast network. A camera feed momentarily pixelated, a door sensor registered a phantom open, a digital log entry flickered and corrected itself. Each anomaly, seemingly random, was a brushstroke in the Maestro's masterpiece, conditioning security to overlook the truly significant. Then came the night of the heist. A thunderstorm of biblical proportions raged outside, mirroring the electric tension within Sarah. Dressed in dark clothing, a baseball cap pulled low, and gloves, she moved silently through the dimly lit bank vault with a focused and determined expression. The air hummed with the dormant power of millions. Every breath was measured, every step deliberate. The Maestro, guiding her through an earpiece, was her eyes and ears, a spectral presence in the digital ether. Third camera, pan left now. Bypass initiated. You have 12 seconds. His voice was a calm current in the storm of her adrenaline. Sarah's fingers, nimble and practiced, danced over a specialized keypad, bypassing a laser grid that would have incinerated anything in its path. The faint hum of the lasers dying down was the sweetest music she'd ever heard. She was a phantom, an echo in the silence of the vault. The target wasn't the main vault, but a lesser-known, highly secure sub-vault, rarely accessed, and holding the casino's emergency overflow cash, a staggering $50 million in unmarked bills. It was a blind spot, a forgotten corner of the Bellwether's financial empire. The Maestro's genius lay in his understanding of human nature, of the inherent complacency that breeds in institutions built on perceived infallibility. He knew the guards would be distracted by the storm, the casino managers preoccupied with the high rollers, the security team lulled into a false sense of security by the very complexity of their systems. Sarah reached the sub-vault. The reinforced door, a relic from a bygone era, presented the final challenge. The Maestro had provided a customized thermic lance, a device that could cut through steel like butter. The hiss of the lance, almost inaudible above the raging storm, was quickly masked by a carefully orchestrated alarm. A false alarm, triggered in a remote wing of the casino, drawing away the few security personnel still on high alert. Inside, stacks of crisp bills, bound in neat bundles, gleamed under Sarah's headlamp. $50 million. Untraceable. Untouchable. She worked swiftly, methodically, filling specialized bags designed to dampen any tracking signals. The weight of the money was immense, both physically and psychologically. This was it. The culmination of years of planning, of a lifetime of quiet observation. The escape was as meticulously planned as the entry. A rigged service elevator, a pre-programmed delivery truck, a hidden compartment beneath a suburban bungalow miles away. By dawn, Sarah was back in her unassuming world, the neat bun and sensible shoes firmly in place, sipping coffee and reading the morning paper. The headline screamed, "Bellwether Casino hit for 50 million, NO leads." A faint, almost imperceptible smile played on her lips. For months, the heist remained a phantom. The FBI, under the relentless leadership of Agent Mark Thorne, a seasoned FBI agent in his late 40s or early 50s, wearing a sharp suit and tie, with a stern and focused face and a determined expression, meticulously examining a crime scene, his eyes scanning for clues, launched an exhaustive investigation. Thorne, a man who saw patterns where others saw chaos, was baffled. No forced entry, no security breaches on record, no witnesses. It was as if the money had simply vanished. This wasn't just a robbery, Thorne would often muse to his team, his voice a low growl. This was an inside job, a ghost in the machine. And whoever pulled it off, they're smarter than any thief I've ever encountered. He spent countless hours poring over financial records, security footage, and employee files. His eyes, sharp and piercing, scanned every detail, every flicker of an anomaly. He knew the perpetrator was close, hidden in plain sight. The perfection of the heist, however, was about to be marred by the most human of errors. A single, almost insignificant mistake, born not of greed or carelessness, but of a fleeting moment of sentimentality. 6 months after the Bellwether job, Sarah received a package. Inside, nestled amongst layers of bubble wrap, was a small, antique music box. It played a familiar, melancholic tune, one she hadn't heard since childhood. It was from the Maestro, a celebration, a quiet acknowledgement of their triumph. But the Maestro, for all his genius, had overlooked one critical detail. The music box had been a gift to him from a childhood friend, a small, personalized engraving on its base, to M from S, always. A detail Sarah, in her quiet, unassuming way, would never have noticed, but one that Agent Thorne, with his unwavering focus on the seemingly insignificant, was about to stumble upon. The music box, inadvertently shipped to Sarah via a convoluted, but ultimately traceable, route, contained a tiny, almost invisible GPS tracker, not placed by the Maestro, but by the original seller who had grown suspicious of the Maestro's odd requests when buying it. Agent Thorne, following a hunch related to a series of unusual, high-value antique purchases made through a seemingly defunct shell corporation, had planted the tracker. He watched the dot on his screen, moving slowly but surely, until it settled, finally, on a quiet suburban street, right outside the unassuming house of Sarah Jenkins. The music box, a testament to a shared past, became the thread that unwound their perfect crime. Thorne, his face grim but alight with a newfound determination, looked at the glowing dot. "Got you," he whispered, a predatory gleam in his eye. He picked up the phone. "Get a team ready. We're going in." The hunt was far from over, and the stage was set for an unraveling that would expose the dark secrets behind the perfect casino heist. The revelation hit Sarah Jenkins like a physical blow. Not the confirmation that the Maestro existed, but the crushing, undeniable truth of his betrayal. $50 million. Every single dollar. And she, the meticulous, ice-cold architect of their shared triumph, was left with nothing but a looming prison sentence and the bitter taste of shattered trust. Her calm, steady eyes, usually so unreadable, now mirrored a storm of disbelief and raw, burning fury. "Where is he?" Sarah's voice, usually a quiet murmur, was a sharp, unfamiliar blade in the sterile interrogation room. She pushed back from the table, the sensible shoes scraping against the tiled floor, her plain and unassuming face hardening into a mask of grim determination. "Tell me where he is." Agent Mark Thorne, a seasoned FBI agent in his late 40s or early 50s, wearing a sharp suit and tie, with a stern and focused face and a determined expression, meticulously examining a crime scene, his eyes scanning for clues, studied her. This was the break he'd been waiting for. The Maestro's Achilles heel wasn't technology. It was the human element he'd always considered beneath him. His own arrogance. His betrayal of the one person he truly needed. "He's in motion," Thorne replied, his voice calm, almost sympathetic, belying the coiled tension in his posture. "Trying to vanish into the digital ether, just like always. But this time, Ms. Jenkins, he's leaving a trail. A very clear one." Thorne opened a secure channel on his tablet, displaying a complex, glowing map. A single red dot blinked erratically, then began to move, accelerating out of the city. He's heading for the private airstrip outside Henderson. A Gulfstream G650, pre-filed flight plan to an untraceable island nation. Sarah's mind, a tactical processor even in despair, clicked. The Maestro always had an exit strategy, an escape hatch, but he hadn't shared this one with her. A fresh wave of indignation washed over her, fueling a cold, precise resolve. He uses a secure satellite phone, Sarah stated, her voice tight, every word a wrenching admission. Encrypted frequency. He'll disable all other comms. Thorne's eyes flickered, a hint of surprise. Which frequency? Sarah met his gaze, a silent battle of wills. Her loyalty, however shattered, still warred with her sense of self-preservation. But the image of the Maestro, sitting on a sun-drenched beach with her 50 million, while she faced a lifetime in a federal penitentiary, solidified her decision. Gamma 7, she finally uttered, the words tasting like ash. And he has a failsafe. If the satellite link is compromised, he triggers a dead man's switch. All funds are irreversibly transferred to a dozen untraceable crypto wallets and scattered across the dark web. Thorne's jaw tightened. A digital scorched earth policy. He picked up his secure phone. Alpha Team, execute Plan Echo. Target, Henderson Private Airstrip. He's on Gamma 7. Move now. Miles away, in a sleek, anonymous black sedan hurtling towards the airfield, the Maestro, a figure shrouded in shadow, his face illuminated only by the glow of a single, highly customized tablet, worked with a furious intensity. His low, gravelly voice, with a suspenseful and cinematic tone, muttered commands to himself over a slow, tension-building cello score. He saw the breach in his system, the subtle, almost imperceptible shift in data flow. Thorne. He was faster than anticipated. The amateur, he spat, his fingers flying across the virtual keyboard. Playing with my network. He thinks he's clever. He was already initiating the final phase of his escape protocol, the digital scorched earth plan. The 50 million, now converted into a volatile mix of cryptocurrencies, was poised on the brink of dispersion. He would rather burn it all than let Thorne, or worse, Sarah, get a single cent. He had always believed in the purity of his genius, unmarred by messy human emotions like loyalty or resentment. A chime on his tablet. Gamma 7, secure. A call. He answered. Maestro here. Static. Then, Thorne's voice, calm and clear, cutting through the digital noise like a surgeon's scalpel. It's over, Maestro. We have Sarah, and she's talking. The Maestro froze. For the first time, a tremor of genuine, profound shock coursed through him. Sarah, the one person he thought he could trust, the one he had molded into his perfect instrument. Betrayal. It was a variable he had never accounted for. Impossible, he whispered, his eyes wide. She gave us Gamma 7, Maestro. Thorne continued, his voice resonating with cold satisfaction. She told us about the dead man's switch, about your precious crypto wallets. A bitter, humorless laugh escaped the Maestro. She doesn't know the half of it, Agent. Those wallets are already scattering. $50 million, gone. Into the digital wind. His fingers hovered over the final command. One last keystroke, and the money would be truly untraceable, atomized across 1,000 nodes, forever beyond reach. As the black sedan screeched to a halt on the edge of the private airstrip, Thorne's team, a blur of dark uniforms, swarmed from unmarked vehicles. The Gulfstream, its engines already whirring, was a silent sentinel against the twilight sky. Inside the sedan, the Maestro stared at the glowing execute button on his tablet. His escape was compromised, but his legacy, his control over his money, that he could still command. You lose, Thorne, he snarled into the phone. 50 million. Vanished. A ghost in the machine. You'll never see it again. Are you sure about that, Maestro? Thorne's voice, surprisingly close now, echoed not from the phone, but from outside the car. The Maestro looked up. Thorne stood by the driver's side window, a grim silhouette against the darkening sky. He held a device, small and nondescript, aimed at the sedan. EMP, Thorne stated, his voice devoid of emotion. It's a localized burst, enough to fry any unshielded electronics within this vehicle, including that tablet. A bead of sweat trickled down the Maestro's temple. He had redundancies. He had contingency plans. But a direct, localized EMP burst? That was a sledgehammer to his intricate digital castle. His mind raced, calculating probabilities, searching for a loophole. There was none. With a snarl of pure, animalistic frustration, the Maestro slammed his thumb down on the execute button. The screen flickered, the words "initiating transfer" appearing for a microsecond. Then, a blinding flash of light, a silent, sickening warmth that vibrated through the sedan's chassis. The Maestro's tablet went dark, its intricate circuitry reduced to inert silicon. The glowing red dot on Thorne's map outside Henderson sputtered, then vanished. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the distant hum of the Gulfstream's engines, now powering down. Thorne approached the sedan, his team moving in to secure the Maestro. He pulled the man, shaken but defiant, from the vehicle. "The money, Maestro," Thorne said, holding up the now-dead tablet. "It didn't go anywhere. The EMP hit at the millisecond you hit transfer. It's all still sitting in the Bellwether's overflow account, untouched, frozen." The Maestro stared, his eyes wide with a dawning, soul-crushing horror. His perfect crime, his ultimate betrayal, undone by an antique music box, a broken trust, and a split-second EMP. He, the ghost in the machine, had been caught by the very human weakness he had always disdained. Back in the interrogation room, Sarah Jenkins was informed of the Maestro's capture and the recovery of the $50 million. A wave of exhaustion washed over her, the adrenaline draining away, leaving behind a profound emptiness. Justice, perhaps, had been served, but the cost was immense. She had lost everything: her freedom, her carefully constructed anonymity, and the twisted, unique bond she'd shared with the only person who had ever truly seen her intellect, even if he had ultimately used it against her. The Bellwether casino heist would go down in history as one of the most audacious, almost perfect, robberies ever conceived. It was a testament to a brilliance that bordered on the superhuman, and a reminder that even the most meticulous plans can unravel due to a single, fatal flaw: the unpredictable, volatile nature of human connection. The Maestro, brought down by sentimentality and his own hubris. Sarah, betrayed by the very man she had helped elevate to infamy. As Sarah Jenkins was led away, her neat bun still intact, her sensible shoes treading heavily, her calm, steady eyes held a newfound, desolate wisdom. The Bellwether money was safe, but the heist, in its profound impact on those involved, was far from over. Because the true price of the perfect crime is rarely counted in dollars, but in the shattered lives left behind. The unseen narrator's voice, low and gravelly, with a suspenseful and cinematic tone, speaking over a slow, tension-building cello score, faded in once more. The Maestro's reign of digital shadows was over. Sarah Jenkins, the woman who walked in two worlds, would face the consequences of her choices. The $50 million was recovered. But in the quiet corners of the internet, in the whispers of forgotten forums, the question lingered: was the Maestro truly a solitary genius, or had he, in his arrogance, left behind a digital echo, a coded ghost, waiting for the opportune moment to once again orchestrate chaos from the shadows? Some legends, after all, are never truly silenced.